Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're talking less about board games and more about the people that make them. There are some folks in the industry that are really putting the team on their back right now, so I figured they deserved a little recognition.
You're doing amazing, sweetie. Wow, look at her go.
So if you want to know what 5 publishers I think are really crushing it right now, then might I suggest... Hi, I'm Alex from Might I Suggest a Game, a channel devoted to helping you find your perfect board game. First off, I want to apologize for the delay. I meant to get this video out in February, but between moving and vacation and some other work for the channel, it never really happened. But here I am now. Hope you didn't miss me too much. Anyways, I promise I've been making videos, just not all for this channel. Some of you may have seen that I started doing a bi-weekly segment on the Rahdo Runs Through channel about cool Kickstarter projects. And if you didn't know that, make sure to go over there and give my videos some love so they don't kick me out. I put the link below in the description, so go check that out. And while you're there, don't forget to hit subscribe and that little bell button so you can get notified when I post new content. Anyways, like I mentioned before, we're going to do a little publisher spotlight today, meaning I'm going to talk about 5 publishers that are out there killing it right now.
You're killing me, Smalls!
Now, my criteria was mostly opinion-based, but I did have 3 main boxes that they needed to tick in order to make it on the list. First, do I like the games they've published so far? Obviously, that's a big one. I don't have to like all of the games they have, but having a good track record goes a long way for me. Second, am I excited about what they have coming up? All of these publishers either have new releases that I haven't played yet, or have shared some sneak peeks at some upcoming projects that I'm really excited about. And lastly, have they been nice to work with? Or if I haven't worked with them yet, would I want to? The publishers on this list aren't just putting out quality games, they're also filled with quality people, which I think always deserves to be highlighted. So anyways, let's get into it. Will one of these publishers have the perfect game for you? Let's find out, shall we? Alright, first one up is Stonemaier Games. Stonemaier Games is notoriously one of my all-time favorite publishers. I mean, Viticulture, banger. Wingspan, banger. Scythe, banger. But you know, I also love some of their lesser known titles like Between Two Castles of Mad King Ludwig and Red Rising. I mean, even some of their smaller ones like Rolling Realms and Smitten have been much better than I expected. Anyways, as far as new games, the one that I'm really excited about, of course, is Expeditions, which is the follow-up to Scythe that was just announced recently. It's based in the Scythe universe, but it feels much more accessible, which could eventually lead to me playing Scythe with more people, so I'm all about that.
I love it when a plan comes together.
The art is top-notch once again, and the engine building looks really cool, so I'm definitely excited about this one. Anyways, the reason that Stonemaier Games is at the top of my list is really twofold. First off, they do such a good job with production. Their components and the art and just the whole experience of all of the games that they make are always top-notch. It's kind of come to be expected of Stonemaier to have these really beautiful games, and so every time something of theirs comes out, you just know that it's going to be well done. And secondly, well, they've been really nice to work with. Stonemaier Games doesn't really do any sponsored content, but they're really generous with their review copies, regardless of how popular your channel is. Stonemaier Games was one of the first publishers to put me on their list and send me review copies so that I could get the channel going even in the very beginning days of this channel, so I can contribute a lot of my growth and a lot of my knowledge about content to them. Anyways, their customer service and communication has been amazing, and I'd be happy to work with them even if their games weren't all that, but it definitely helps that their games are some of my favorites of all time. So anyways, 10 out of 10 would definitely recommend Stonemaier Games to anyone, whether you're on the content side or the game side. Stonemaier Games has been killing it for a while now, and I can't wait to see what they have coming up next. So if you want a great publisher to work with, or an organization that you just want to support, or just a quality catalog of games that are awesome from top to bottom, then might I suggest Stonemaier Games. The next one on my list is 25th Century Games. Now, 25th Century Games I feel like has had a bit of a meteoric rise over the last few years. I mean, the first game I think I played of theirs was at Origins in 2021. I played Kohaku, and I was really impressed by it. But even since then, they've brought out titles like Green Team Wins, Blazin', Three Sisters, Tutankhamun, all of which have really hit for me. I feel like 25th Century Games is starting to get into that mode where anytime they announce a game, I really want to try it. I mean, some of their new releases like Volonimo and Oh My Brain and Gasha are lighter games, really fun to play, but they've also got some meatier games like Blazin' or Motor City that are also really good. As far as upcoming games go, they just had a Kickstarter finish that had 3 really awesome games in it, Agueda, Colorfield, and Donut Shop, that we talked about in the crowd sorcery segment in Rado's channel, that look super interesting and really great for that light to medium weight range. One of the things that I really like about 25th Century Games is that their games seem to really fit into that sweet spot of games that I like to talk about on my channel and games that I like to show to other people.
Nice.
They seem like they have a really good grasp of that light to medium weight consumer by making games that feel kind of familiar but have a little bit of a twist that make it super cool. They also do such a good job with theming and production, so I really can't complain. On the personnel side as well, Chad Elkins has been such an awesome guy to work with, and even though they're a little bit smaller, I definitely think they deserve to blow up. So if you're looking for some awesome games in that light to medium weight territory, and you want to make sure they're produced well, they've got good gameplay, and they're made by good people, then might I suggest 25th Century Games. Alright, the next one up, I will admit, is a little bit cheating. It's Hachette Games. Now, the reason why I say it's cheating is because Hachette Games isn't really a publisher. They're more of a distributor, and they have, I think, 8 different publishers under their umbrella. So there may be some that argue their eligibility for this list, but I wanted to give them a shout out, not necessarily because of the games that they're putting out. I mean, their games are great. I've really enjoyed games like In the Palm of Your Hand, and Acropolis, and Suspects, and a bunch of ones that some of their studios put out last year. But the main reason why I really wanted to shout out Hachette is because their organization has been such a pleasure to work with. As a content creator, it's really difficult sometimes to feel like your voice is being heard by certain publishers, or feel like they've got the time of day to talk to you. But all the folks that I've interacted with Hachette have been super nice and have been really open with communication and have wanted to help out the channel. This isn't necessarily something that a casual gamer would see, but I love to sing the praises of publishers who are actually really nice people. I would much rather talk about a publisher who I really like to work with than talk about a publisher whose games are really great but who couldn't give me the time of day. Anyways, I haven't even really talked about the games that they're putting out this year, but there were a bunch of them on my most anticipated list, like Vivarium and Tribes of the Wind and Gozu X. They just seem like they're running on all cylinders right now, and I'm really excited to continue working with them and see what they have to offer. So anyways, I'll give a big shout out to Danny and to T, who have made the experience of working with Hachette so nice. Their communication specifically with press has been phenomenal, so I always feel like I'm in the loop, and because of that I feel really invested about what they're putting out. Take note, other publishers. So if you're looking for a publisher, or I guess a distributor, who's got plenty of range and is filled with great people who really just want you to play their games, then might I suggest Hachette Games. Alright, the next one I want to talk about is the Resonym. Now, the Resonym is the first indie publisher that I've talked about, but it seems like they're starting to gain a lot of popularity, especially because of their most recent hit, Phantom Inc. If you haven't got a chance to see them at a convention, they usually bring their giant version of Phantom Inc, and it's really fun to play on the big board. But anyways, I've told this story on my other social channels, but Resonym was pretty much the first publisher to ever take a chance on me.
Take a chance. Take a chance.
They had me do a preview of Phantom Inc. before it was even called Phantom Inc. and before I even had any followers, really. But anyways, they've been supporting this channel and involving me in all parts of the process with some of their newer games, so I really feel connected with them. They've got a couple of really cool projects coming out soon and a few more in the pipeline, but some of the newer ones like Retrograde or Glitch Squad are really cool and definitely worth checking out. But even before their new ones, I still think they have a really interesting catalog. They've got a little thinky engine builder called Mechanica. They've got this really cool game with lots of player interaction called Surrealist Dinner Party, great art as well. And they've got a really interesting deduction game in A Visitor in Blackwood Grove. Not even to mention Phantom Inc., which is probably my favorite of the catalog. I want to give a big shout out to Mary and Max and Olivia and the whole team. They've been a dream to work with and I can't wait to work with them more. So if you're looking to support an indie publisher and you want to find one that has a really wide variety of games and is always trying new things, then might I suggest the Resonym. Alright, number 5 on my list is actually the only one that I haven't directly worked with yet. It's Flatout Games. Obviously, when you talk about Flatout Games, you can't talk about them without mentioning Calico and Cascadia and their new one, Verdant, which all are part of the same family. Each of those games is really thinky and really great for the target market for this channel. So of course I had to shout them out. And they could have really just rested on their laurels and continued to make different versions of Cascadia and all that, but they've just kept going and created more and more games that are really interesting. One that I saw last year at Gen Con was Fit to Print, which went through a pretty successful Kickstarter, but they're also working on 2 games right now called Point City and Deep Dive. Point City is kind of the follow-up to Point Salad. I got to play it and I was really impressed. It's just one step up on the difficulty scale, which I think is really great for those light to medium weight gamers. And then Deep Dive is this really interesting push your luck game where your penguins are diving down into the depths of the ocean to try to collect sets of squid and fish and shrimp, etc. I haven't quite figured out how to win that game yet, but it was still lots of fun and would be a great kind of palate cleanser in between bigger games. Now, I can't really speak about what it's like to work with Flatout Games, although I did get to meet some of their personnel at Gen Con last year and they were super nice. But I think maybe it's my goal this year to try and work with them. So if you got any contacts over at Flatout, then you know where to find me. Anyways, I really love the aesthetic of the things they put out. The production is done really well, and the weight of the games is just chef's kiss for this channel.
So good and tasty.
So if you're looking for a publisher that's really crushing it with games in that light to medium weight zone that have great art and really nice production, then might I suggest Flatout Games. Alright, thanks for sticking around for today's Publisher Spotlight. I hope some of those publishers caught your eye and maybe they have a game or two that you would really enjoy. And if you have a favorite game from one of those publishers already, then let me know in the comments. Once again, thank you so much for everyone who supported me so far. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe so I can keep growing these channels and keep helping you find your perfect board game. Once again, this has been a Might I Suggest a Game production, and I'm Alex, your board game sommelier, signing off.